I've read my notes.
Oh,
They're on my desk at work.
listen, I get it. It's been exhausting.
Yeah, life is tiring. Sometimes I think it might be easier just to be a corpse. I don't know.
Me too.
Good evening or morning or whatever time of the day it happens to be. Welcome one, welcome all to the Writers Bleck Podcast, a podcast for writers who have the trouble writing, whether it's due to the ADHD, negative connotations of mental health, or it's just a Tuesday. Who's got time for that on a Tuesday? I'm one of your hosts, Greg Nykus, joined alongside Taylor Thomas, my partner in crime for this lovely adventure. And we're back after a long hiatus. That was, what do you call that, like season 0? That was our test run season. We were getting the feelers out. We weren't quite there yet, and we're gonna get there. We're gonna do like daily episodes at one point. I bet we're gonna just go and go and go. That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds like it would just defeat the point, because that would just take all of the energy that I have to will myself to do any kind of writing whatsoever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, I did this, so I guess I don't have to write, and then I never write again.
Yeah, we're back. We've been gone for a while, so I felt like for this first episode back, we'll do some brief introductions, just some light chit chat, kind of catch up on our writing careers. Get to know us again. It's been 6 whole months. Oh my god! So first things first, then Taylor. How are you? I guess let's just start with the how are you, and also who are you?
I'm Taylor. I go to Notre Dame. I'm in the creative writing program there, their MFA program. I just wrapped up my first year, which is part of the reason why there was such a long pause. It was exhausting. It's summer. I'm still super tired. I thought I'd get way more writing done already, but it's June 2nd and nothing has been written. One more to go.
One more. You got one more, and then we'll see if you start having the urge to be Dr. Taylor Noel Thomas.
Absolutely not.
Dr. TNT.
Absolutely not. I already told my husband, I said, listen, I always thought I was going to get a PhD, but I think Notre Dame may or may not have killed me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. So I told him I will consider in 5 to 10 years. 5 to 10 years, if I'm still really wanting a PhD, I will pursue it. But right now, I think, not that my experience at Notre Dame has been absolutely horrible. It's helped me actually to realize I don't like theory in any way, shape, or form. And Notre Dame is such a research-heavy school, and their PhD program is super theory-heavy. Their MFA, because it's connected to the PhD, they make us take these literature classes that are, oh my god, so unbelievably boring. And you can't tell people that you're bored, because then are you a true writer? But I'm like,
you're not one of the real writers.
I don't know what anyone is saying. They use the biggest words I've ever heard of. It's like they're on a competition to see who can form the most complex sentence. And I'm like, let's just talk like people.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to take a break. I'm hoping in like 5 to 10 years, there will be more creative writing programs across the nation. And there will be some that are less academic based and more
fun.
Creative and fun. Yes.
Yep, that's a good way to put it.
So until then, when I finish this master's, I'm going right into the workforce.
There you go, Chief. Well, I guess the flip side of that coin is my name is Greg Nykus, and I am a writer of some degree. I'm the aforementioned writer that can't write because I cannot finish anything I start. I'm trying so hard right now. So my goal is I write for a television morning show. That's kind of the one thing I consistently do daily. I work on stuff for YouTube, short film scripts that I have not made in, at this point, almost 2 years. The scripts are there. I know what I want to do. It's just gotta dust off the equipment and do it. And then I want to at some point transition into writing for comics. And that's kind of the big project that I've been working on recently. The comic I'm writing is called All My Heroes Need Therapy, and it is about a group of superheroes in group therapy. And it is I keep restarting it because I'm like, I don't like how this turned out. Let's go again. I don't like how this turned out. Let's go again. And it's like, I'm just never satisfied. So
yes. Speaking of, I have a great graphic novel for you to read. I was assigned it this semester, and none of my teachers have ever assigned like graphic novels, even though a lot of them do fall under the nonfiction realm. A lot of them are nonfiction, but this one is a nonfiction, and it's about American loneliness. Now, it combines the author's personal life, like research studies on loneliness, and just like society. And it's called Seek You, A Journey Through American Loneliness by Kristen Radke.
I'm looking at it now.
Did I cry my eyes out? Yes. Was it absolutely phenomenal? And it's not too long because, again, it's a graphic novel. So I highly recommend it for everyone, especially you, because I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, this looks cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. Definitely. I definitely been trying to read more, not even necessarily slice of life, but things that aren't just, oh, hey, this is a superhero book, whatever. Like there's a bookshop on the northwest side of town. It's called Brain Lair Books.
Yep.
And they have a phenomenal graphic novel section of just like real stories, or stories that are a lot more down to earth. Really good stuff by some really good authors. Jean Lewin Yang is one. He wrote, oh god, what is it called? I'm gonna kick myself with this now.
Sorry. I had to pull it up too to figure out what I was even talking about, so I get it.
American Born Chinese is the name of that book. It's a very good book. I think it's actually a couple in that series, but I know the one I've read, and it's
No, I get that, because I get a lot of criticism for reading a lot of romance books, especially historical romance. Either way, romance across the board. Like,
as we've talked about before, Taylor is the #1 romance person that I know, and probably in the entire world.
I love romance, but like when you go to like big schools like Notre Dame, honestly, most schools, like most English programs, think that is beneath them. They don't think that's real literature. And I'm like, any book that makes me feel anything, like good, bad, like for me, that's usually going to be something I reread again and again and again. So screw them.
Yeah. Are you reading anything? Right? Like, we're kind of on a tangent now with that, but are you reading anything right now, out of curiosity?
I just finished a book, so I'm forcing myself. One book for pleasure, one book for my thesis. And so I just finished a book for my thesis. It's actually really good, but incredibly depressing. It was like trauma at the end.
Okay.
So it's called The Autobiography of My Mother by Jamaica Kincaid.
Okay.
So I just finished that, but now I'm really excited to read a book for pleasure now.
Okay.
What about you?
So kind of, yeah. I got comics and I have audiobooks I've been listening to. So one of the perks of my job is we will occasionally, and I have a person that I book some stuff through that they book writers and authors. So I will occasionally get a free copy of a book, and I got one. It's called Aranya and Spider-Man 2099, and it's about a girl who teams up with Spider-Man 2099, or it's was it Dark Tomorrow? I think is the name of the book. And so I've been kind of flipping through the first couple pages of that. I really want to get. I'm awful at reading. Yep. I can't sit still to save my life, so I've been trying to, like, the last couple minutes before bedtime, just gotta crank a couple pages out and call that good.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's the only way I really can do it. Like, even with reading comics, it's like it's hard to sit still. Like, I have a pile of books I've been picking up that are they're stacking up. Like, it's getting uncontrollable, and I'm like, I've got to get ahead on this at some point, or stop spending the money.
That literally, my bookshelf and my Kindle are full of books that I've not gotten around to. And so what I do is when I'm trying to avoid something I don't want to do, like chores, I'm like, I could read now. So that's what I do. And I'm like, oh, this is not good either way, but at least now I'm getting through some of my books.
Yeah, there you go. It helps that I haven't been really playing games lately. Like, I haven't really been interested in games. So I have had more chance to, if not read, listen to a book.
Same. Because I'd gotten on a stream hook. Stream, is that what? Steam. I'm so sorry. I'm a horrible gamer.
Number one gamer, Taylor Thomas.
I had been using Steam because my husband is a gamer type guy, and he was like, I bet you'll find things you like. And I'm huge into mystery and like detective and solving type games. And I found so many. And so for like a while, I wasn't reading or writing at all because I was so hooked on like games. But now I've finally taken a break.
Especially in that genre, I feel there's so many games you could get that are like cheap, like independent made, just simple mystery games.
Yep, that's what I've been doing, because so many of them, like you said, are free. I just download them, and then I breeze through them. Next one.
No one tell Taylor about Ichigo. No one tell Taylor about Ichigo.
What's that?
No one tell Taylor about Ichigo. So it's a website where developers post horror games for free. Like they made for free, and there are some good mystery games on there. But I didn't tell you about that because no one told Taylor about Ichigo.
I mean, I do need to take breaks every once in a while this summer, so
fair enough. So I guess the simple question there to move on is, what have you been working on? Anything you've been working on that's of note that you want to talk about? Anything that you've been trying to write that you haven't been able to write lately? What's been going down in Taylortown?
So I've been struggling to write because I'm so burnt out from the school year, but that doesn't mean I haven't been working towards my thesis. What I'm currently doing, because I got a lot of criticism last year from my classmate, well, not last year, but this semester, it was
actually, good criticism. Okay, good.
It was good. Some of it, some people's, I was like, talk to me again and I'll kill you.
Yeah,
but
I know where you live.
yes, the other half, they were just like, hey, Taylor, you told us your thesis is going to be about womanhood within your family and generational trauma and how it's been passed down from my grandmother to my mother. They're like, but all we hear about is you. They're like, we want to hear more about your sisters and what they experienced, or your mom, like, and stuff like that. And I was like, that's actually extremely valid. So this summer, I've been conducting interviews with my siblings and my mom. So I started with my mom. Whew, let's just say that was incredibly emotional and difficult to get through. Just hearing about what she experienced as a child that led to the woman she is today. Then I did my oldest sister, Amanda. That was also long and emotional. Then yesterday, I think I did my little sister, Becca, who does not like to show any emotion or talk. So it was the shortest so far. She was just like, I don't know. And I'm like, you gotta answer.
Come on, give me something to work with.
That's what I'm saying. And then I'll next have to do my little sister, Rachel.
I feel like Rachel will be the easiest for you because how close you guys are. But
it'll be very easy, I think. I think the only part where we could possibly get into issues is, like, part of my questions are like, how close were you with your siblings and stuff? And as a child, me and Rachel absolutely hated each other. I was jealous of her because I thought she was prettier and cooler than me, which she was and is. And she was jealous of me for different reasons. And I never knew it until we became adults. And so I think it's going to be emotional for both of us to, like, talk about the ways we harmed each other as kids. So yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah, I think that's a good goal. I think you know, the interview conducting the interviews is definitely a very good step. So kudos there. That's a very hard step, I imagine.
I'm not looking forward to transcribing them. So if you want to, take it.
Well, you know, if I have a free Saturday, that's definitely a hard thing to do. Last year my grandpa turned 102 in November.
Oh my god.
And I had planned on, I wanted to ask him if I could interview him for a video for my vlog, but also he's 102. He's had a hard life, and you know, we lost my grandma earlier that month, I believe. So it was one of those things. I'm like, I don't want to put more on you. This is really uncomfortable to ask this question. I'm just going to pass it. So for you to do that, you know, I give you all of the credit in the world.
It's hard as hell dealing with family and trauma,
but you powered through it like a champ. So there you go.
What are you working on?
The comic has been the biggest thing. Again, I've been telling you that's been giving me problems for almost a year now that I'm working on it, because it's like every time I start getting footing on the beginning, it trips me up. I don't know how much of this story I want to give away right out of the bat. Do I want to give this guy's whole, because I think my original idea was the comic opens on the main character's life during their heyday. Like, I'm a superhero, I got this job, my wife's pregnant, this is great, it's gonna be a great time. And then it hard cuts to six years later, he has stubble, he's waking up in bed alone. He's divorced. The superhero life balance is kind of destroyed his life. His actual job is falling apart. And then sad, depressed superhero tries to kill himself. The whole group therapy aspect comes in where his friend saves him. It's like, we can't just take you somewhere because there's no one you can relate to there. Like, or if there is, you know, maybe not the best of ideas. And so they start this group therapy. And I have some really neat concepts for issues that I want to do. I started writing them out of sync, I guess kind of is my point, because the beginning is giving me so much trouble. And there are like 8 stories that I know I want to write, that I know are going to be in this in some capacity. And the one I'm working on, it's about the kind of the Flash-esque hero, but his whole thing is like, he went public with his identity. He sold his life to a company and is now working as a member of a super speedy superhero, like, saving app service on demand thing. But because of his contract, he's doing weird things, like they can't sleep. Like, it's very much you don't have rights. So it's like you would be available whenever. So he has started doing cocaine and things like that. You know, he's coke out of his mind, going to save someone, and he trips. And when you're, you know, going fat, like when you're breaking the sound barrier and you trip, he went through a building and knocked the building down. So it's like there's this big, like, oh, this guy is how the mighty have fallen and what's going to happen and yada yada yada. And he's like, I can't go public with what's actually happening because I have an NDA. Like, what do I do here? So
I love that, because I feel like, especially with the Flash like character, like there's so much there, and like so many questions about even like everyday people, like the people we put on pedestals. They do one thing and everyone turns against them so darn quickly. And like, what does that say about all of us? Like, we don't you don't make room for mistakes in any way, shape, or form. And
Yep.
I'm not saying mistakes like racism or homophobia. I'm saying mistakes like
I signed a sketchy contract and now I do blow. Like,
exactly.
yeah. And again, the whole pitch for that book, I wanted it to be the way the boys turn superheroes on its head, but everyone's not a horrible person. Like there's a lot of there's like occasional like misleads of, oh, this is gonna be a big like conflict and fight, and it's like this is solved with words. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like we're all okay. Like we are all normal adults. So, and that that's what I wanted. Like I had a kind of an argument with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago because he's one of the people that is screaming about how woke everything is, and it's just like, dude, you just have to have fun with it. And that's a conversation I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna get through this one. I'm just gonna walk away from this conversation. These things are important and they do need to be talked about. And this whole like, keep your, gender politics, keep your, slice of life out of my comics. It's like, that is important. Like, yeah, because like it's the same thing. It's like, cool, that story is not for you. It's not for everybody.
Yep.
The Boys is not for me. These hyper violent, super depictions aren't for me.
Yep.
The also cookie cutter, my young ward, I'm going to go save this thing now. Huzzah! Like, are you tired of that yet? Is anyone tired of that? Like,
yes.
There's a great run of Nightwing that's been going on for a while now. Taylor, I recommend. This is the comic I recommend to anyone who wants to read it. Especially like if you grew up with Teen Titans, especially.
Yes.
That's the voice in my head for Nightwing. But so in DC a couple years ago, Alfred was killed. Like Batman's butler Alfred died, and he stayed dead. But in this run, he left Dick Grayson his inheritance essentially from the Waynes that he has been saving and investing, and it's a lot more than Bruce Wayne. So Dick takes the money, goes back to Bloodhaven, which is the Nightwing town, and goes, cool, this city's worse than Gotham. I'm gonna fix it. I'm not gonna beat up criminals. I'm gonna get in front of it. I'm gonna start a foundation. I'm gonna help people. The first volume of it, he's talking to Barbara Gordon. He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this money. And they're out for pizza, and this kid pickpockets him, and he like chases the kid down, like, I'm gonna get this kid. And then he finds this kid's a part of a homeless camp, so he buys the whole camp pizza. Like, and it's that kind of a thing. He saves a 3-legged puppy who's getting kicked by kids, takes it in. Her name is Bitewing. Yeah, it's like there's a relationship between him and Barbara Gordon, which is super genuine. There's a great like double issue with him talking with Superman's son, who was on his own for a while there. Just a lot of great down to earth moments with this character. And I'm like, this is everything that I want comics to be right now. It's like maybe not super like, oh, this is super relatable to me, but also it's like, it's not Batman getting in the suit for the 100th time. Like, I'm gonna punch a criminal that's gonna keep the crime going in my town. It's like, I'm gonna actually save my town. How did I get on the topic?
You were talking about a friend that you.
Oh, right. Yeah. But it was like he didn't like that run because it's like, keep your politics out of my comics. It's like, no. Like, this is an important story. Like, this is
and comics have always had political aspects to them. Always, since like the beginning of time. Like, what comics has he been reading if he's complaining about that? Because I still remember them as kids. And always subtle messages.
Yeah. Well, it's like even then, like this is the exact same complaint of people in the 60s, like, oh, X-Men is promoting the black agenda, and it's like, okay, cool. It's promoting equality, like acceptance, all that good stuff. Like, it's the same argument.
Yeah, I hate that complaint. Like, do I understand being overwhelmed and also tired of like constantly seeing like messaging where it's like, we gotta fight. Yes, I totally get that, because you're allowed to be exhausted. However, if your first reaction to always seeing things like that is, ugh, you have to ask yourself, like, is this something you have to deal with on a daily basis? And if it's not, maybe it's stuff you should be consuming more, because you're not seeing what some of the other people are having to experience every single day. Like, I know that I'm gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. I really enjoyed a lot of the DC movies I saw. Like, I liked Suicide Squad. And when I bring this up to a lot of my guy friends, they're like, oh my gosh, you're such a poser. I have to
ask, the Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad?
Which one has that really hot chick, Margot Robbie?
They both do.
Damn.
One has Will Smith.
The Will Smith one.
Oh, okay. Well,
I know. I'm a horrible person.
I respect you anyway, Taylor. It's fine.
I like saw it in theaters with my friends, and I loved it. And my friends were like, "This was terrible. I'm gonna go watch a Marvel movie to rinse it out." And I have nothing against Marvel, but like, I just felt like that movie kept my attention better than a Marvel movie did. And I'm like, it's
To each their own. Well,
each
again,
their own.
I'm glad someone got enjoyment out of that movie, because this is you're the only person I've heard that from. So,
Literally no one else likes it. Nobody.
And it's like, I love hearing that kind of stuff, because like my old boss, her husband was really, is a nerd, and took her to see the Star Wars sequel trilogy, which is divisive if you're aware of Star Wars. And she had no real exposure to Star Wars outside of that. So it's like that was her first real sit down with Star Wars, and she enjoyed it from an outside standpoint. And I'm like, I love hearing. Yeah, it's like I love hearing that. I really do. That like these movies and these stories that people don't like, someone likes them. These are for someone, and I love hearing that.
Yes, and Star Wars definitely hit a lot of sore parts for me. I enjoyed the first one that came out. Like, I felt like they were off to a good start, in my opinion. And then the second and third.
Yeah, I disliked The Last Jedi so much that I thought for the first like 6 months of seeing Rise of Skywalker, I'm like, this movie was everything I wanted it to be. It's so good. And then it came out on DVD, and I'm like, oh no, it's not that good. It's literally just fan pandering.
Literally, the thing that makes me the angriest is the gross kiss in the third one between Kylo and
there's no need for it.
He's murdered tons and tons of people. His own father. I just feel like it completely ruins everything about her character. Okay, yes, but this should not have been the case.
Yeah, I agree.
You could have dreamed about the kiss.
Yeah,
never should have happened in real life.
I agree. It was just weird, not a left field. Like, cool, Ben Solo is back. Whatever. It is what it is. But we are going to take a quick break on your end. We'll be right back. On our end, we're going to be gone for a few minutes. Yada, yada, yada.
So we have workshops all year. And so I submit random essays and stuff like that. Like, even the ones I absolutely hate, because I'm like, there's so many of them. Eventually you run out of stuff to submit, because I'm not going to write nothing new. I'm tired. And so I think a goal for me is to go through all the feedback all my professors and classmates gave me and make actual changes to some of my essays. And it's the boring part, but it has to be done. I think
you'll do famously.
And the best part is, one thing I have learned at Notre Dame is like learning how to decide what feedback is useful and what's not.
That is a very good skill to learn, I imagine.
Yes, because some people, like, I remember when I was an undergrad, I took a single creative writing class, and like someone was like, I don't get this. And it was something that was like very cultural, and of course they didn't get it. They're not in any way, shape, or form similar to me. They were rich and white.
Yeah, you're not the target demographic, sir.
No, and so like having to I didn't even try to explain it. I just was like, I'm done. Now at Notre Dame, it's like, okay, what you're saying might work for you, but this is not at all what I wanted the message to me, to my readers. So
this is a completely different scenario when all things are said and done.
Yes.
So before we get too far away from what we're working on, I completely forgot about something that I remembered during the break. Every year, Big Finish Productions, which they do the Doctor Who audio dramas, they have a contest where they take fan submissions for what they call their short trips range. Essentially, one fan every year that they submit a story, like a pitch of the story within the criteria that's listed, and they take the selected story and they make an audio drama. And the deadline for that is about 20 days away from the time of this recording. I really wanted to do it last year, and I just kept stalling and finding reasons to not do it. We're not doing our homework yet, but I think that'll be my homework assignment, one way or another, to at least make a decision. Sorry, that popped into my head during the break, and I had to just get it on record.
Good, we have to hold you to that.
Yeah, if I don't, you have complete permission to beat me with flaming sticks. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I guess then we'll move into our first full-on segment of the show. Taylor, let's pull the train into the procrastination station and talk about what are some highlight ways that you have procrastinated since the last time we've recorded. I'll go first if it helps.
Yes, please.
So I am notorious for using other things to not do things. Like, oh, I can't fix the car. I have to go do this other thing. I've taken on a shift at the Well again, which is the coffee house,
Ooh.
which is a local a volunteer coffee house in town. I've taken on the Wednesday from 6 to 8 shift, and I'm like, I can't do it right now, guys. I have to go make coffee for 2 hours. And the irony is, the entire time that I am there, I just want to work on writing. But
Yes.
that is the kicker. I'm like, I did this to get away from, like, specifically to get away from writing, because I was trying to set aside time to write and to work on YouTube stuff because I still want to work on YouTube stuff at some point in my life. But yeah, I took on this shift, and I'm like, cool. I don't know how to not. Damn it.
I felt that deep in my soul because I am also struggling through, like, I'm always like, okay, today I'm going to read a book because I have to force myself sometimes. Even though I get serious enjoyment out of reading, sometimes I just can't get myself to read, and I don't know why. And then I will find everything else, like, in the world, like, this needs done, and I need to run over here and do this. And then at the end of the day, I'm so sad I didn't read. And it's like, okay, but you had plenty of opportunities. And you chose not to.
That's on you there, buddy.
I don't know if that's an ADHD thing and why both of us do it, but I just, like,
it could be.
I also think part of it is burnout, because I am struggling to find enjoyment out of the things I absolutely love. And so all I want to do is sit in front of my TV and be a zombie, because I feel like work and school have just drained me.
I touched on this earlier, but it's like, I think it's been a few months since I've enjoyed playing a video game. Yeah, it's like I stopped doing my vlog because it's like, it was just cool. I'm sad, burned out, and also it's winter now, so there's nothing to show me doing right now in Indiana, and I just can't get back in the swing of it, which is not ideal. It's not ideal.
We had, like, an interview with the people who graduated last year. They'd often come back and talk about their experiences now that they're in the workforce or wherever they're at, or in PhD programs, because a lot of them do end up doing that. And most of them, like, the ones who didn't go into PhD programs, and even some of them that did, like, we always ask, like, how long after you finished did it take you to, like, just sit down and be able to write again? And oh my God, the responses were horrifying. Like, one of them was 6 months before she could sit down and write again. One of them, it was a year. It was usually within that range, like 6 months to a year, where they were just like, I can't write. And I'm just like, this is life.
And it's like, if you can't do the writing, you feel like a failure. Like, right now, it's like, and it's like, right now, I'm so burned out just from my day job that it's like, things like taking a bike ride, which I would do to kind of work through stuff in my head, I have not been able to really do. I've gone on a few bike rides this year, but it's like, last year it was like every day I was out for like 3 hours and going through stuff in my head. And like, I've been out and I'm like, cool, headphones in, let's listen to an audiobook and just power through this as quick as I can.
You like, finances play a big part in it too, because it's not just stress from work. Like, if I was being paid well, I feel like the stress from work wouldn't matter as much. But one, being back in grad school, you are not paid well at all, but everyday jobs aren't paying enough. And the price of everything is skyrocketed. And every day I just think, like, if I hadn't gone back to school, I'd still have a salary and I'd be able to contribute more. And I'm such a failure because I have no money and I'm useless. And so it's just downward spiral. And it's like, what am I going to write about? Just angsty, sad things about myself and how much I hate myself right now. That's just
right for a CW show.
Ooh, that's a good point. Riverdale, the new season.
Like, I think about it, like, I could go back to being an Uber driver and pretty much make what I'm making. The problem is, and the reason I stopped being an Uber driver was because it was becoming impossible to make money being an Uber driver, because gas was going out of control and everything has shot up in price. And like, that's kind of like the big detractor. Like, I like having some stability, and also I hate feeling like I'm stuck in a box for extended periods of time.
That my mom is currently Ubering, and that's her only job right now. She's trying to job search and stuff, and she does not have the, like, realistic aspect that you had, where you're like, okay, well, gas prices and things, it's just not paying off. She's like, oh no, I'm gonna make like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, and if you know how to, and to be fair, if you know how to work it, you can. My problem
not in
is
South Bend.
No, well,
it depends.
If you know when to work, because like, if you can really work like the Notre Dame game days and like the weekends when like students are here, like I do that to make like a little extra cash when I want to waste money on something.
That
And
I
then,
agree with.
yeah, and then like, I had my schedule when I would go out because like my peak times that I earned were like 5 a.m.
Yes.
to 9 a.m. and then I'd go back out in the afternoon and I'd work another 4 or 5 hour shift. But it's like I was earning less and less, and also it's like people really started wanting to go to Chicago.
Yes.
Which I don't know if I've talked about that on this particular production. I despise driving to Chicago because of my Ubering career. There's a video on my Instagram of me having a meltdown because I was stuck in Chicago traffic going back from a ride I did not get paid enough for. I didn't get tipped for. I was stuck in that. Like, that's supposed to be like, oh, it's a 3-hour trip, 2.5, 3-hour trip there, 2.5, 3 hours back. It was almost 9 hours of my day, Taylor.
My mom just got trapped in Chicago because of traffic for like 4 hours. And I'm just like, okay, Mom. So I want to start with the fact her car. She got a new car last year. And so she hasn't even had it that long. Do you know how many miles she's put on it because she's been Ubering this whole time?
Said last year, I'm going to guess 75,000 miles.
Higher.
100,000 miles.
Yes. This was a very nice car that she had gotten, like the best she's ever gotten, because my mom's credit's pretty bad. But I keep telling her, I'm like, you are not making enough money. Like, Uber is taking all of the money. No, like, it's not, you have to get a real job. She's finally trying to get a real job. And I hate saying it like that, but the truth is, I would consider Uber a real job if they were paying the drivers fairly.
Yeah. Or if like we were if we were in a different city, like where prices were it's a little bit more
like Chicago.
Like Chicago or Indy or New York or something like that. We don't live in a town that's great for it. Like, it's a lot of commuting. Like I talk about
so much.
Yeah. Like I talk about this, like when the pandemic was at its height and lockdown was happening, people still had to go to work. I was out of a job, and so I was Ubering. I made so much money because I was one of, I think, 5 people that were Ubering regularly throughout the town. And like, you can't do that anymore, unfortunately. But it was a real golden age, and now it's so oversaturated.
There's so many drivers out here now, and like, my mom's lucky if she gets like 3 rides a day, and I'm like, you can't survive off this, and it's just so sad. I like Uber better than I like Lyft.
No, Lyft was bad. So I'll do one more horror story I had from Lyft. So Lyft is always where I had the weirdos. Like Uber, I never really had any super big problems. So like Lyft, the 2 stories I tell with Lyft, I had a guy that I picked him and his not girlfriend up at a hotel with a reputation out towards Niles, let's just say. I was taking them both to their respective places. He just kept insulting her and telling me that, she's not my girl, it's fine. And then when I dropped her off, he kept trying to get me to be his private chauffeur. And then the other one, I picked up a lady with her 2 kids. And there were 2 very small kids. Doesn't have car seats. And I'm trying to explain that to her. She's not listening to me. Puts them both in the car and then goes, I forgot my wallet. And she walks back in the house. The door is wide open to the back seat. And there are 2 very small kids in the car going, where's mom going? And I'm like, cool. How do I wrangle these 2 small children from leaving my car so they don't fall and die? And one of them did fall.
That's what I like. I've only ever had horrible experiences with Lyft, with drivers, and now I will only use Uber because I just feel safer. Not that Uber is completely safe, but it feels significantly safer than
there are a lot more checks and balances.
Yes.
On both sides. So
agreed.
Okay, Taylor, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Can you go into your Google Doc and see if you have access to the Crumple story? Because I can't find it.
Let me find out. Yeah, I'm not finding it either.
Oh no.
It disappeared.
The Crumple story. Oh no, that's so sad.
This is bizarre. It took me to a Roger Carlyle poem, and I don't know who that person is. Why are they in my poems list? Okay.
And we'll
found it.
You found it?
Oh my gosh, yes.
What's it called?
Just kidding. It says the file you have requested has been deleted.
Damn it. So for this episode, if we do have a Crumple story, I'll put that in post. So I have prepared a 1 paragraph of the opening of a story, and it's in a Google Doc. I'm going to recite it, and then I will pass it off to you with the Google Doc magic link things of the future. And then by the next episode, you will write the next paragraph. And it can be like a 1, 2, 3 paragraph thing. It can be just adding on to it, adding on to the lore, the mystique. If you change the tone, if you change whatever, that's fine. That's part of the process. So we're just kind of seeing what we can cook up. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. Terry muttered aloud into the cold void of a rainy night. You underestimate my power. Quoting movies aloud on the long walk home wasn't ideal, but it definitely took a bit of the terror out of what was turning into a horrible night. Agreeing to work closing shifts always came with a risk of missing the last bus home. But the storm breaking out in the already cold October night had literally turned his night into a scene from a bad horror movie. Cold, rainy night? Check. Long walk down a dimly lit country road? Check. Dead phone? Check. Wearing flip-flops? Big fat check. It was freezing, and all he could do to keep his mind off the cold was quote movies and keep walking. It was only another hour away. His steps slowed to a stop, though, as he noticed a shadow growing in front of him, signaling the headlights were coming up behind him. He turned to look at the vehicle as it approached, cruised past him, and stopped just ahead. Don't try it, Terry said.
The car began to slowly back up, and Terry debated whether he should just run. He wasn't sure why he had the urge to run, although his therapist would have a lot to say about that. But he figured any teenager walking alone at night, regardless of gender, was a target. And maybe because of his obsession with movies where there was always a bad guy, his natural instinct was that there was danger around every corner. In the end, though, because tonight couldn't possibly get much worse, he stood frozen as the darkened windows of the car began to roll down and the car stopped beside him.
So I think that takes us to the end game of the episode. Taylor, what is your homework for this week or this episode?
My homework for this week: 1, read a book that I actually enjoy for pleasure, all that jazz. 2, I think I'd like to write a poem this week because I think I've been stressing myself out that I'm not writing enough for my thesis and stuff. I'm like, why don't I just write something for me, for fun?
Yeah, I like that. I think for me, I do want to at least want to make an attempt at the Doctor Who writing contest thing. So I'm going to try my hand at that. And also, just personally, I want to take, let's just say 2 bike rides a week. Just 2 bike rides a week. We're going to try that because we're about mental health and all that jazz here as well.
Exactly.
And
we're going to bring enjoyment
gutter.
back into our life.
Yeah, enjoyment, happiness, whatever that tastes like. All right, so I think that will bring us to the conclusion of our return to form for the Writers Bleck podcast. We did it, Taylor. We got through a whole episode and we only stumbled a little bit at the beginning. So. And by we, I mostly mean me. So it's fine. I had just woken up from a nap like an hour earlier and it was not going well. Like I was in such a fog. I'm like, I just want to go back to bed. Can I cancel? Blankets. Which again, that has been a problem too. I've been so tired and sleeping so much and I feel so not rested at all.
Yep.
So that's
Same
fun.
Here.
That's so much fun. Well, I love that. Love that for us. Love that for all of you at home. Thank you for listening to or watching or whatever platforms this thing is on. This episode of the Writers Bleck Podcast, the podcast for writers that cannot write. I have been one of your hosts, Greg Nykus, joined alongside Taylor Thomas, my partner in crime, the one and only. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let us know on the comments or however that works. What should we discuss next? What are things you want to discuss with us? Write us a letter via carrier pigeon and we'll read it on the show. That's not how that works, but I love that. I love to think that one day I'm just gonna get a carrier pigeon with a letter just dropped on my table. It's not for me, but it opens up a whole new quest line in my life. Where did this pigeon come from?
Yes.
And there's a short story.
It's going to come from Dumbledore because you're going to Hogwarts.
Oh, I hope so, because I really don't want to be in reality anymore.
Same.
It's either that or just the TARDIS going to just pull up. I'm like, all right, I'm out. Peace. If you sorry, I know I just did the whole outro. If you had the ability to just get in the TARDIS and never come back, would you take it?
I would do it.
Yep. 100%.
100%.
Yep. Throw Grandma over the shoulder and like, we're leaving right now. Let's go.
I don't think he'd mind bringing my dogs either.
Seems like a dog guy. Yeah.
I think he just likes animals, and so I'd be like, "Can they come too?"
Yeah.
First, would obviously have to watch the house. So
he's got to stay behind. Well, phones work. You guys can Skype.
Exactly.
You have a Zoom date.
Sacrifices.
Exactly. These are the important questions that we strive to answer at Writers Bleck HQ. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I've been Greg. That's been Taylor. Keep writing.